It's interesting to talk to creative people about the way their minds work. Sometimes it sounds kind of freaky. When you're a creative person and you're nurturing that within yourself, you open yourself up to a lot of discovery that comes from unexpected places, which is really wonderful. I mean, for me, the writing process is very much about when I have a really, really good idea of what I'm writing. I need to have notes, a good outline, thought it through, have some dialogue, like really be clear about what I'm doing. And all that comes from being out in the world. My films are low-budget independent films, very specifically focused around communities of color and people of color and families of color and finding the universality and the specificity of those stories. When you're making a low-budget film, a film for $50,000 or $200,000, there's nowhere to hide. It's people, usually people talking or not talking, but you're on these spaces, you're on behavior, and so you really have to be able to understand that. And so that comes from living, being a black woman walking around. It comes from observing people. It comes from asking questions. And so I find that, I've got to get out, and you got to be around people. And in Los Angeles, it's such a sprawl. It's such a huge place. In downtown, you can actually rub shoulders with people. You can actually see faces that are not behind a car window. You know what I mean? The best thing is when you see people and you're wondering, what's their story? How do they fit together? Where they came from? Where are they going? What's their connection? Sometimes I'll even ask. And people want to talk, and it may not be anything that's directly related to the work that you're writing that day, but that energy from people, that stuff is kind of like, seeds on fertile ground that helps with the writing. For example, one of these great places to kind of just find a good corner is a spot called the Last Bookstore. I mean, it's such a great space, that density that I talked about is, dense with books and people, and it's not too busy, but it's just enough, the right flow of the odd character that comes in and out. It's part of what I prefer to have around me when I'm writing. I'm outlining, I'm playing with dialogue, I'm figuring out what the beginning, middle, and end of the scene is, is it moving the film forward? Really trying to pin down those big questions. I consider movie watching people watching because you're watching people. You're watching behavior, actors kind of mimic human behavior. We're here at the Downtown Independent, which is one of my favorite places to be inspired. It's a great one-house movie theater in downtown LA. I really love it here. I love coming down and watching other people's films. I love coming here and watching my own films. Wherever I find myself, these spaces that inspire, it leads to the sparking of my imagination. I definitely am recognizing when I'm being hit and inspired, and then making sure that I'm logging